In June 2025, security researchers Ian Carroll and Sam Curry began investigating user complaints about Paradox.ai's Olivia chatbot, the artificial intelligence system McDonald's used to screen millions of job applicants. They discovered the administrative portal was protected by the password 123456. The same credential had been active since 2019. No multi-factor authentication, no monitoring. Iterating through applicant ID in a browser bar, the researchers pulled 64 million records. McHire incident was not a failure of AI, it was a failure of architecture. When an AI system is built as a thin wrapper around a third-party model, inputs in, outputs out, legacy infrastructure around it, the security perimeter anchors to the weakest link in the supply chain. A default password, a stale admin account, an unvalidated API endpoint, each one sufficient, together catastrophic. The wrapper-grade security era for enterprise AIs. The wrapper model concentrates engineering effort on the conversational interface. Olivia was polished, on-brand, deployed at scale, while leaving the surrounding infrastructure unmanaged. Behind it, an administrative portal with default credentials active for 6 years, an API that did not validate object-level authorization, and a developer workflow where a single infected device in Vietnam exposed credentials across Pepsi, Lockheed Martin, Lowe's. An error mark simultaneously. This is the Nexus Stealer Vector, a password theft malware sold on cybercrime forums, targeting the human node that operates the AI stack. The same base 7-digit password recycled across internal and third-party services, exfiltrated in a single session. The attack surface is not the language model. It never was. A defensible AI architecture requires 5 independent layers, each one designed with the assumption that every layer above it has already failed. The first layer is input sanitization. Every prompt submitted to the AI is normalized into plain, safe text before it reaches the model, stripping any syntax that could be misinterpreted as a hidden command. The gatekeeper does not reason about intent, it enforces format. The second layer is heuristic threat detection. A dedicated scanner actively identifies adversarial signatures, prompt injection patterns, jailbreaking sequences. A flagged prompt is blocked before processing begins. The third layer is metaprompt wrapping. The user's input is enclosed inside a complex metaprompt that provides the AI with reinforced, unchangeable instructions regarding its permissions and operational boundaries. The AI cannot override this envelope. It does not know it exists. The fourth layer is the canary and adjudicator system. A smaller canary model first analyzes each incoming prompt for malicious intent. If flagged, a larger adjudicator model makes the final authorization decision. 2 independent models, no single point of failure. The fifth layer is output validation and redaction. Every AI response is treated as untrusted by default. Output classifiers detect toxic, biased, or hallucinated content. PII redaction layers ensure no sensitive information reaches the user inadvertently. Agentic AI introduces 4 additional threat vectors the OWASP framework classifies separately. Agent goal hijack, where malicious content alters the agent's core objective. Tool misuse, where a legitimate database query is weaponized. Sensitive information disclosure. And memory poisoning, the injection of malicious data into a persistent agent's long-term memory layer. The evidence is exact. The McHire breach exposed 64 million records, names, email addresses, phone numbers, IP addresses, virtual interview transcripts, and personality assessment results. Paradox remediated the vulnerability within hours of notification on June 30, 2025, but the exposure had already occurred. The average cost of a data breach in 2025 reached $4.44 million. The regulatory exposure compounds this. Under the CCPA, a business faces $750 in statutory damages per consumer per incident. Applied across 64 million affected records, the theoretical class action liability exceeds $48 billion. The EU AI Act classifies recruitment and HR AI as high risk, triggering fines of up to €35 million or 7% of global annual turnover. The psychological dimension is equally unsparing. Research documents that 70% of breach victims report an inability to trust others. 85% report sleep disturbances, 57% develop chronic physical symptoms. Psychometric data, personality test results, behavioral screening scores is among the most irreversible categories of data. Unlike a password, it cannot be changed. The McHire attack required no zero-day exploit, no nation-state capability, no sophisticated toolchain. A default password and an unvalidated API endpoint were sufficient to compromise a Fortune 100 enterprise's entire recruitment supply chain. By 2026, AI governance is no longer a voluntary exercise. It is a prerequisite for market participation. The transition is structured as a 90-day roadmap. Assess and map every AI model and its data permissions in the first 30 days. Establish zero trust identity management and decommission all stale credentials in days 31 through 60. Implement MCP server governance, behavioral monitoring, and human-in-the-loop gates for destructive operations in the final 30. The governance deficit is the attack surface. Veriprajna, Building True Intelligence. Read the 12-page brief, the McHire post-mortem, the 5-layer defense architecture, and the 90-day governance roadmap. Approximately 16 minutes. Layer 4, Canary to Adjudicator. No single point of failure.